Skate is a game that I've dabbled with on and off since Skate 3. While I may not have been a hardcore skater, there was always something about the older games that always kept me coming back. Skating around with friends, playing Hall of Meat, or playing a game of skate was always something I enjoyed. The best part of these games, or at least for me, was always the social aspect. Playing with friends, or skating around with random strangers, or even just ragdolling around with people was what made these games and its community so much fun. The newly released reboot of Skate was something that I wasn't necessarily interested in. However, given my prior experience and fun I had in the past, and as well with some convincing from my friend Devin, I decided to give it a shot. Now there's already been a good amount of controversy surrounding the game. Mostly it's been about the monetization, art style, and lack of content. I was going in mostly blind here. Most of the things I've heard about Skate were through my friend Devin. So most of the video will be my initial thoughts and opinions on the game from an unbiased perspective, given how little I knew about the game. My girlfriend also decided to join me in experiencing this game for the first time. Devin, however, has been keeping up to date and regularly playing the game over on his channel if you're interested. So Devin will be our sort of guide for a majority of this journey. As usual, I like to cover the positives of the game first, then move into the negatives. This is to try and be fair, as there are some good things within the game, and to not highlight them would be disingenuous. Starting off, and to clear any confusion about the gameplay, my girlfriend and I decided to make each other for the game, so I would be playing as her and vice versa. The character customization was a bit confusing at first. It took me a second to realize how everything worked, and that there was little in terms of how detailed you can get compared to other games out there. Now for a game that focuses heavily on customization, I felt this could have been fleshed out a bit more. I also struggled to make the character look how I wanted it, as there weren't too many different build types that you could use. So I got as close as I could with what I had. Then Devin quickly informed me of the best mode of transportation in the game.
Just hold right trigger and just keep tapping A.
Oh my god, I'm so fast.
Yeah, you thought that was fast. Do the tuck and roll.
The ragdoll physics as well as the goofy nature of the game was one of the best aspects by far. Granted, the physics was always a highlight of the skate games, so this should be expected. While I do enjoy the goofy side, I felt the older skate games did a better job of capturing the skateboarder culture as well as aesthetic, while still keeping the goofy nature with the ragdoll physics. Moving on, I wanted to talk about only positives here, but I had one major bug that completely crashed my game within the first 20 minutes of playing, so I had to mention it here.
Open up like a reel, and you use your right stick, and if you'll find the Skatepedia right there.
So Devin, using that Skatepedia fucking froze my game.
Press B or
I can't press anything. No, everything I press doesn't do anything. Bro, you straight scammed me. You're like, open the Skatepedia so I can crash your game, loser.
While I didn't encounter many bugs, the ones I did find were quite significant. Going back to the positives, the community. The community inside all of the skate games has always been amazing. I'm glad to see that inside this new reboot that hasn't changed at all.
Oh yes, the Fent lane. That's me.
Gun inside
Yo,
the
this
top.
guy's just randomly
Bro,
with us. What the hell?
He
What's up,
knows,
bro?
he understands the assignment.
Understands vibes. Come on, bro, come join. Somebody else join.
So many people are so excited to just interact and be friendly or hang out and skate together. It truly warms my cold little heart to see. Even with the few hours I have on the game so far, nearly every interaction I had with other players was a positive one. The amount of times I would just start doing something dumb or ragdolling myself only to see more players join in made the whole experience much more enjoyable.
Cool. You see the Shive? He's so much cooler than you. Can you do a fucking backflip?
Oh yeah? Well, look at her. She's way cooler than you.
That's how I
Look
sleep
at
every
your
night. I
face.
know. I'm just like completely straight.
Another positive is that the game is free to play. Now, I feel this is a double-edged sword, but I'm gonna focus on the good side for now. Since it's free, there's more reason for a bunch of people to check it out. On top of that, it makes it easier to get your friends on and try things together. Like I said, there are some issues with this, but I won't get into them right now. The map size is another good thing here. While I didn't explore everything, and I haven't been playing this specific game for months on end, the map size was quite big. It had plenty of cool spots, as well as skating spots to try out. Since this is a free-to-play game, that also means there is a live service model, which is also a double-edged sword. The good thing here is that there are plans to expand the map, as well as add more constant rotating challenges. Additionally, the skate controls for inputting tricks is much more responsive and better at detecting the tricks you actually meant to do. It's still not perfect, and occasionally a trick won't come out at all, or the wrong trick will occur, but it's still noticeably better than previous titles, at least from my experience. I'll also include here the art style, although I'm mostly neutral on this. It's an art style that definitely reminds me of Fortnite, which is not a good thing, but it also maintains portions of the art style of the older games. Loot boxes are also somehow a positive here, which is kinda crazy to me. However, in this game, you gather currency from completing those rotating challenges I mentioned, and you use that currency, and that currency alone, which cannot be bought, at least to my knowledge, in order to open said loot boxes. These loot boxes contain a pool of items that when unlocked are taken out of the pool, meaning there is no way to get any duplicates. So if a loot box has 12 items, you have to open it 12 times to gather all of the items. This is actually a decent system. I don't like the randomized element, as sometimes this means you have to open the box many times to get what you want, but I'm glad this rewards gameplay in a way that doesn't involve you spending real money and instead allows you to earn the items by playing the game. Most items may not be great, but there are some good ones in there. So in terms of positives, that's mostly it from what I could tell. There might be more that come in the future since it is a live service game, but as of the recording of this video, that's mostly it. So moving into the negatives, I'll cover the downsides I mentioned earlier and then discuss some other things. The game being free to play means other elements of the game need to be monetized in order to become the primary source of income for the game. Due to its free to play nature, we are going to be entering mobile game status here, which is not something you want. Starting off, there are 4 currencies already in the game. Yeah, it's already at that point. You have your challenge currency you get from playing the game, your premium currency, in which you spend real money on, and basically is required to buy all of the good stuff in the game, your battle pass currency, and your event currency for whatever event is currently active. This is a lot already. Speaking of battle passes, this is another downside to the free-to-play model. The battle pass system is one that I'm sick and tired of and that gets tacked on to most games nowadays, even if it doesn't make much sense for it. For Skate, I don't think this fits, especially when there's already an event currency and seasonal events that come into the game. We can't forget the shop, of course. Since it's a free-to-play game, the developers, or publishers, or whoever, thought it was a great idea to charge the price of amazing games for one cosmetic. For example, the $40 Isaac Clarke cosmetic. Do you know how many other games are $40 currently? Let's just mention a few somewhat recent examples of great games for $40. Helldivers 2, Elden Ring Night Rain. This is something I think they're looking into, but it is something that never should have happened in the first place. I get it, the game has to make money somehow. However, there are better ways to go about this. Making some cool cosmetics and charging $10 or so for them would be a great route to start. They could even go the nostalgic route if that helps. You'll get a lot more people willing to pay $5 to $10 on some decently cool stuff than you will $40 for something that's just okay. Same thing with the Battle Pass. Include some really cool stuff to get people interested and be reasonable with the pricing. Building goodwill with the community goes a long way, not only for their credibility, but also in gaining more spenders.
I know, he's peak.
That's
Excuse me.
that's roughly 2.5 days. What the fuck?
Now this may not be the developer's fault. EA is behind the game ultimately, so seeing these outrageous prices is to be expected. So I say it's safe to say to blame EA for this part of the game, and I won't fault the developers or the game itself entirely for this.
Devin just did everything.
Bruh.
Well, guys, I gotta get you free rip chips.
I love taking credit for Devin's work.
This also indirectly affects the customization experience, unfortunately. Similar to Halo Infinite, pretty much all of the good stuff is going to be locked behind a paywall. Also, like Halo Infinite, there is some good stuff you can get for free, but ultimately, if you want anything spectacular, you'll have to whip out your grandma's credit card. Since customization is the main focus of the game, this is something that needs to be addressed in some way. Again, take this with a grain of salt, as maybe if the game survives long enough, this may not be an issue. For example, the developers might add more seasonal content, or with the map expansions add more loot boxes with more cool items inside that you can just earn. However, as of now, it is quite discouraging to see. Moving on to the actual content of the game. There isn't much, which is the problem. I would say 90% of your time in this game is going to be spent completing challenges.
Oh, damn. I'm gonna foxy jump at you.
These challenges are quite repetitive, which was honestly my biggest issue with the game. Some challenges mix things up a bit with interesting skating spots or ramps, or they throw in some tough requirements in order to complete them. This only goes so far though, as when you really only have one main mode to play and it's not well varied, it gets boring pretty quickly. From when I started playing, it took roughly about an hour before I had realized I had seen pretty much everything the game had to offer. Currently, the only PvP style mode they have is called Skate Jam or something. I'm not entirely sure on the name, but essentially it's just a mode where you see who can get a higher score within the time limit. There's no Game of Skate, Hall of Meat, or death races currently inside of the game. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the social aspect of skate games are the biggest and most important part. This game doesn't really have that, unfortunately. So even with friends, this game can get boring pretty quick. Playing solo, I imagine, would get boring even faster. If you're someone who just likes to skate around or hang out with your friends, and you don't really care too much about progression or customization, and you're just looking to have a good time, then this probably won't affect you all that much. and you'll probably be able to have fun with the game no matter what. However, this can spell disaster for the longevity of the game if these missing modes are not added at some point in the near future. Looking at the game in its current state, and from a fresh perspective, this game comes across as unfinished more than anything. I feel that's becoming more the norm, unfortunately. That free-to-play games launch in a bare-bones playable state and take years of live service before they reach a point that they should be able to launch in. I feel that's the case for this game. It's disappointing since there is a decent game here, but it's buried under horrible monetization and a lack of content. Launching with just repetitive challenges as the main mode and only adding one small, unimportant PvP mode that doesn't really reward you for anything after months of support on the game since launch is catastrophically underwhelming. Even if the game does get better down the line, the damage is done, and I feel some players have already moved on and have no interest in coming back. It would take some major changes to get more players into the game, as well as get players who left to return. As it stands right now, this game feels like another victim of the live service model. Currently, the game is in its second season, but from what I've heard, the first season didn't go too well, and the second season hasn't added all that much. With how little each season is adding, I'm imagining this game probably won't have a long enough life cycle in order to fix some of the major issues. If it for some reason does end up living long enough and adding all of these modes, then my opinion on this game might change. Whether or not I return is another question. So with that, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on this new skate in the comments, and if you thought of something maybe I didn't, let me know. Anyways, I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching this, and take it easy.